Hey there, I'm Thorn of Thornwing Crochet. I use he, him, his, and we're having fun with spooky lighting in my gothic grotto. And tonight I'm really excited because I'm going to be filming my first ever tutorial. It's for a really simple lace edging. I hope that you enjoy it.
Into ribbons of rainbow, weave into your eyes where her colors shine.
Welcome or welcome back to my Gothic Grotto, fellow yarn witches, fiber goths, and crochet gays. That was a bit of a Freudian slip because fiber goths is a pun on cyber goths. That's why I chose that, besides the whole keyword thing in my intro phrase. So, before we get to the lace edging tutorial, I do have a bit of a fun mystery because I do like to source patterns where I can, obviously. That can be difficult when the place you find patterns is on Pinterest, because no one knows where the things on Pinterest came from. So I approached it as kind of a challenge, and the pattern I found is this page. I'll put it here, and you can see the words that I'm not going to pronounce this correctly. Probably it's in French, but it says Le Crochet de Anne at the bottom. So I Googled that. I found a website in French, um, the the blog, I presume, of Anne, and I did find this image on that blog with the help of Google Translate. I kind of tried to navigate around because I don't speak French, but at first I thought, oh well, here's my pattern writer. Maybe this must be a pattern by Anne. But from what I can gather, I think what this person does is gather crochet patterns from other places, and maybe they'll do an example from the pattern. And so I think they did do at least one of the edgings on this page, probably the one that has the X on it. Maybe they were also the one who wrote the instructions for the pattern in French on the side with the, not the chart, but the picture of the finished object. So if Anne wasn't the one who wrote it, who was it? Where did this pattern come from? Well, I got a really fancy image search app. I'm sure that I can find out the name of it, but I can't remember it right now. This app gave me a lot of hits on websites that were like in Korean, Japanese, Chinese, and then I found a version of the image that I actually did recognize as being in Japanese. I'm not fluent, but I did major in it in college, so um, I I know enough at least to recognize when the language is present in written form, even if I can't fully read it. So if you see up on the top, there's a line of characters which are katakana, and I think that word is edging. Just like I assume it's an English borrowing. I'm a bit rusty on my katakana, and obviously I don't know for sure if that's the word that I'm thinking it is, but this seems to be a book of edgings, so that's why I'm guessing that's what the word means. And also, the image is way too grainy for me to make any of this out, but I do see that the instructions on the side with the finished objects are in Japanese. in this version of the image. By the way, I'd be really interested if anyone is more fluent or a native speaker of Japanese, and who might be able to make out what this says. So please comment down below. So I know that it's probably a book from a book with a bunch of edging patterns written in Japanese. And the earliest picture I found was from 2015, so it's probably published before then. And it's either, I would say it's either focused on, the book's either focused on edgings and trims, or there's a huge section in the front, which is, because if you notice, we're on page 71 in this image. And the edgings on this page are numbered, I believe, 171 through 176, which divided by 5 works, no, divided by 71 works out to about 5 per page. And it could be other patterns included in that, but I don't know what other pattern would easily fit 5 on a page. Of course, I could be wrong, but this is my theory. So I'm very interested in what this book could be. Japanese crochet book, published before 2015, heavily focused on edgings and trims. I was going to do this thing, but I with each finger, but I didn't do it beyond the first one. Okay. So now with the mystery out of the way, and by the way, if anyone has any further info or wants to hunt down this book, please comment down below. I'm very curious. Now we're going to have fun with regular lighting so that I can see what I'm doing. So, fun fact, I don't know how to do the top-down angle with my current setup, so I'm just gonna hold the yarn close to the camera and hopefully that works. The first couple of examples that I did beforehand are from my stash yarn. Well, all 3 of them are stash, so unfortunately I can't tell you what yarn they are, but I just wanted to have a variety of examples to show how it would work in different weights. This one is pretty thin. I'd say it's maybe not quite crochet thread, but it's either fingering or thread. And I love the way it works up. It's just very delicate. Just realized we're going to have a problem with getting it to focus on the stitches and yarn and not me. Maybe that's why people do the top down, for one reason. I could like wear a veil over my face. I was considering doing that, but I'm not within easy reach of any translucent black fabric that doesn't have things sitting on top of it. So please bear with me and we will figure this out together. Cool. Second example is also off-white. It's much closer to worsted. I don't know if it's exactly worsted. Oh, these are all acrylic, by the way. At least I'm pretty sure they are. I don't tend to have non-acrylic in my stash. By the way, for the previous example, oh, there we go. Now it's focusing. I used 2.5. That was my hook size. And for this one I used 5, a 5mm hook. I was avoiding the word millimeter because I stutter, and sometimes you just know that a word is going to be difficult. And now for the actual example that I'm going to do right now, I have this fun rainbow yarn, which is So I'm not good at weights of yarn as you at knowing what they are, as you may have guessed, but this is it's either fingering or something a little bit thicker than fingering. And I'm using my 2.5 hook again. I just figured this would be easier for folks to see what's going on because the different rows will have different colors. So in any case, foundation chain time. We make a slip knot, which I've already done, but I need to tighten it, okay? And now I'm going to chain, how many did I want to chain? You chain a multiple of 9 plus 9. And that includes the turning chain for the next row. So you can have any multiple of 9, but then you need 9 extra, if that makes sense. We're going to chain 27 because I have my multiple of 9, 18, and then an extra 9 for 27. I love how this little bit ended up looking like the Bi Pride flag, the pink, purple, and blue. Hey, I figured out how to make it look at my hands and not my face. This is extremely jury-rigged, so hopefully the camera doesn't fall over. Thank you for joining me on this magical adventure. Why don't I re-show the samples just so you know what we're looking at, what we're aiming for. Here's the thin one, which is roughly the same weight as what I'm, well, it's a little bit thinner than what I'm crocheting right now, but I used the same hook, 2.5. I didn't see the other sample at first. I was looking for it. Anyway, here it is. I used a 5 for this one. It's closer to worsted weight. And here is the yarn we are using. I was trying to show the Bi Pride flag, the accidental Pride flag coloration. The little, oh, I think it's trying to focus on the yarn. Okay, the ball of yarn. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we have our foundation chain. It was a hard one chain, honestly. Okay, this is fine. Like, I feel like the dog with everything on fire. Okay, so we've already chained 1 for the turning chain, so now we just single crochet across, and that's our first row. So I'm just going to do that. And we don't single crochet into the first chain because that's the turning chain. Trying to keep my hands out of the way. So here I am, single crocheting across every single chain. Eventually you should have your multiple of 9 plus 8 single crochet stitches because we have 1 less than the foundation row because of the turning chain. So I think I will do the rest of this row off camera and meet you back in a few minutes. I'm not quite done with row 1, but I thought I'd check back in to show you all this is what it's looking like so far. We have the single crochet into the foundation chain, and I'm just going to keep doing that for the rest of this row, but I thought it looked really, it was just a really nice contrast with the blue and pink, so I think it's easy to see at this point what's going on. Ta-da! And we're back with 26 single crochet across. That is what row 1 should look like. And now we're going to do row 2, which, by the way, I'm going to be putting the instructions for each row on the screen just for easier accessibility, because that's what I like. So next we're going to chain 2, which surprised me a little bit because the first stitch in row 2 is a single crochet, but that's what it says. By the way, I am using US terms, as you might have gathered from my accent, but that is what I'm doing. Okay. Just wanted to acknowledge that there are other crochet terms in the world. And once again, I do not have room for my arm. Hopefully I can figure out a better setup someday soon, but it's not this day, in the words of Aragorn. So we chain 2. That's our turning chain. There we go. I have so much respect for people who crochet on camera. It is not easy. So, in the first single crochet stitch, we single crochet. I'm pausing in between because I feel like my hands are in the way while I'm actually working. Anyway, and then we chain 3. I wasn't sure if it was 3 or 4, but I tried 3 and that seemed to work both times. Sometimes these patterns are not clear about the number of chains, for example. 1, 2, 3. Fun fact, I only recently learned to crochet holding it in this hand, my left one. I learned holding it in the right hand, which apparently is very weird. But I just assumed that's what you did, since that's the way I learned knitting. And I didn't think of going to YouTube. I don't think it was before YouTube, but it was like, that's just not what I grew up doing. I'm 31, by the way. Probably older than you thought. I got the trans baby face. Anyway, so we've chained 3, and we're going to skip 1 single crochet. So that would be, so we've single crocheted in this one. We're skipping this one, and then we're going to single crochet here in the next one. So there's a little loop. So see, there's a nice little loop there, and actually we're not only going to single crochet in this one, but also the next 3. So now, cool, I have 4 single crochet. Oh right, I haven't finished that one because I'm used to doing color work where you have to change your yarn halfway through. Let me finish that stitch. Okay, good. Yay, there we are. Okay. And we have 4 single crochet, and then we have the repeating pattern, which is chain 3, skip 1, single crochet, single crochet and next single crochet, so you have a little loop, and then you chain another 3, you have another loop, and you skip 1 single crochet, and then single in the next single, chain 3, so you have another loop. So it's a series of 3 loops, and then you single crochet in the next 4 single crochet. So I'm going to do one example of that off camera, and then I will show you what that looks like. And we're back. I have my working loop here really big so it doesn't get lost. You can sort of see we have the 3 loops. They're not as pronounced with this combination of hook and yarn, or at least this early in the pattern. They do get pulled up a bit by the next row, so don't worry too much about that. You can also try 4 chains in the loops if you want them to be more holy. So those are the 3 three chains, single crochet, and in between that, under the chain, you skip a single crochet, then three more, you skip one, single crochet, three more chains, and then four single crochet. And then I think I'm going to do that one more time, if I'm correct, until I get to the last two stitches, the last two single crochet. So give me a minute and I will see you in a bit. And we're back. I've done the last repeat, and as you can see, we have two more stitches in the row, two more single crochet. So what I'm going to do now is chain three, skip this second to last stitch, and then single crochet in the last single crochet. So we have a lone loop over here, this end of the row of the row, yeah, okay. And then we're gonna have one over here too, so it matches. So give me a second and I'll show you what that looks like. There it is, the last loopy. Okay, we're ready for row 3. We're halfway through, woo! Okay, so for row 3, we're going to chain 4, turn. So the chain 4 is the turning chain. Then we single crochet in the chain 3 space and chain 5, and then we'll have the repeating pattern. So, one second. Okay, so I have chained 4, you can see right here. Then I single crocheted into the chain 3 space of the previous row, and then I have a chain 5 waiting on my hook. And then the repeating pattern is that we're going to single crochet into the next chain 3 space. So we have a chain 5 loop here, and actually, oh sorry, that's the dryer telling me my sheets are dry. Cool. Anyway, so we have a chain 5 here, and interestingly, the pattern did have a 5 there to let me know that it was 5 chains. So I do know this is as the writer intended, but these small ones, I'm not sure. But it seems to work with chain 3. Anyway, so single crochet into the chain 3 space, and then we chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 3 space. And as you can see, we're just building more loops, kind of offset. So there's a pyramid of loops. So one between these two, and then one between these two, and the next row up just completes the pyramid. But we're not there yet. So then after we do these two, we just do another chain 5 in between the two pyramids. So I'm going to do a repeat of that, and I will see you in a moment. Okay, so you can see the chain 5 is right here, and it's anchored now by the single crochet into the previous chain 3 space. We create another chain 3 space by chaining 3 up here, single crochet into the middle loop of the bottom row, the middle loop of this pyramid, the loopy pyramids, and then another chain 3 space and single crochet on the last loop in the previous row in this section of 3 loops. And then we have another chain 5 ready to become the next big loop. So I will finish the next repeat, and I will see you when we have one chain 3 space left, which will be all the way over here at the end of the row. I love how this is striping up. It's so easy to tell like where the first, second, and third rows are. Anyway, so we have our last chain 5 right here on the hook, well, the working loop is on the hook, and the last chain 3 space, and we're going to single crochet into that chain 3 space, and then to mimic what we did before on the other side, we're going to chain 2 and double crochet in the last single crochet. So I'll do that real quick and then I'll show you what that looks like. Honestly, the last single crochet is really hard to find sometimes, so I don't think it matters too much. You can, if you remember, I think we started this one down here with the chain 2 turning chain, so you could just crochet into that for the double crochet, I think. But in any case, as written, at least by me, in my interpretation of the pattern, we have our last single crochet into this last loop, and then chain 2 up here. It's a bridge up to the double crochet, which is in the last single crochet from the previous row. So that's row 3. Give yourselves a pat on the back. Thank you for making it with me 3/4 through my first pattern tutorial. This is quite exciting. So anyway, last row, row 4, we chain 3, and then the repeating pattern starts almost, well, it does start immediately after that. So let me see if I can chain 3 on camera. And it sounds so scandalous, but really just my arms at an awkward angle because of the way this camera is set up on my desk. So yeah, that's good enough. So I've chained 3 very large chains, and we turn. There we go. And so repeating pattern basically starts now. 4 DC double crochet in this chain 5 space, and then you chain 5 and single crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, which is tricky. So let me just do the double crochet, then I'll show you that part. All right, as you can see, we have 4 double crochet in this chain 5 space. I went ahead and did my 5 chains. And then what do I mean by single crochet into the 4th chain from the hook? Well, we don't count the one that's on the hook. We count 1, 2. By the way, my thumb is not on the one I'm counting. I'm showing you all the ones that I'm counting in case that's confusing. So I've counted 2. Now we have 3. And now we have 4. So I would single crochet into the last one that you can see right there. And that way we create a chain 3 loop that's just sort of floating, and it has it has 1 chain on this side of it, and then we're going to do another chain after the loop. So it's a really cool little, very light and airy loopy structure. I love lace that's pointed, so that this is going to be one of the points of the lace. Let's see, can Thorn do this on camera? Inquiring minds want to know. There you see I'm in the 4th chain from the hook. You could also do a slip stitch, which is just 1 less. You don't do the extra loop. Here you just pull the loop that's already on. Like, you could just pull this through, and that would be a different look, which would also be fine. But I'm going to do a single crochet because that's what I've committed to, kind of. when you feel ethically obliged to do a certain crochet stitch. Anyway, see, there's the little loop I was talking about. It's kind of floppy right now because it's not anchored on the other side, but there's a single crochet connecting this to all the double crochets, because that single crochet is the fifth chain, or was the fifth chain from the hook. And now we do one more chain and 4 more double crochet. So let me just do that and I will show you what that looks like. And now we see that we have one of those pointy structures at the top of the lace, and this is how we make it. So you have the double crochet on each side in the chain 5 space, and there's 4 of them on each side. You have the chain on either side of this little, almost a picot type stitch, a tiny little pointy loop. It sounds complicated at first, but it's not that bad once you kind of like once you understand what's going on. I don't think it's that bad, which is why I made this video in hopes of helping you get that understanding, getting the outline or the structure of what's happening. I think helps sometimes. But we're not quite done yet with this row, of course. So then after this, you see how the double crochet leans out really far. So you're here at the first of the pyramid loops on this row. So all you have to do is anchor the double crochet to that, and that just takes a single crochet. So we've done the double crochet, single crochet in this loop. And then, as you might expect, we do 3 more to complete the pyramid of loopies over here. Then another single crochet here, and then we repeat this shell pattern in the next chain 5 space. Let me go ahead and finish the pyramid loop, and I'll show you that. Then I'll just complete the row until the last chain 5 space. So I have completed the pyramid of loops. This is the last one. Of course, it's made by single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, and I went ahead and did one of the next double crochets in the chain 5 space, just so that you can see how it looks anchored on each side. Alright, so now I'm going to finish the other repeat of this pattern, and we're going to get to the last chain 5 space. Alright, we're back with the last bit of row 4. We just have this last chain 5 space, and what do we do with it? Well, turns out we do the same thing as we did in the other chain 5 spaces. You do that last shell here, and then you anchor it with a single crochet in this last loop. And that's it. So I'm going to do that, and I'll show you the finished product, the finished sample, and we will be done. Alright, I finished the last shell with the points, and I've anchored my last single crochet into this chain 3 space, and that's it. Now we can just tie off the yarn and you'll have this beautiful edging. I actually do a lot of lace knitting, and I found myself surprised by how quick the edging is. Of course, that could be because I was doing a very short piece, but still, it looks really complicated, and it is gorgeous, but it's actually not super time consuming once you get going, I find. So I'll probably end up doing other samples from that page from the mystery book. Maybe more from the book if I ever find out what book it is. And the spooky lighting's back. Yes. So thank you so much for tuning in here and joining me as I journeyed through my first pattern tutorial. I hope that you liked it, that you learned something. I'm planning to do lots more, and I'm sure that I'll get smoother at the process, but I don't know. I kind of like the chatty style. I feel like it can be fun to just kind of chill with someone while they're talking to you. It's not that pattern tutorials are boring. Sometimes you're just there to learn the pattern, and I totally get that. But whoa, some of the light was coming from my computer screen and it just turned off. Anyway, for me, like if I'm going to be watching a tutorial, personally, I just prefer to feel like I'm chatting with the person and having them show me how to do it. So anyway, I hope that you liked that more conversational style. It's basically what I do, but I'm happy to hear feedback if it's helpful, or what other patterns you would like to see. I do tend to focus on the lace charts from mystery books on Pinterest because I know that I'm able to read those, and a lot of people have trouble with that. So I want to translate them into a form that other people can enjoy. Yeah, so that's it for the pattern. I do have other videos planned, such as showing some of my past and even current crochet projects, which are more in the yarn witch, fiber pagan type of sphere. A lot of my crochet projects are done in as part of my spiritual practice or partly in devotion to my gods. So I think it would be fun to talk about that. Just being a pagan fiber artist. Though in the meantime, I have a lot more of that type of content in my podcast on my channel, the Midnight Ballroom podcast. So I'll link that down below. I also have my link tree if you want to find me other places. I'm on Instagram as Thornwing Crochet. And yeah, so thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.